Morning, everybody. It is 8:11 a.m., May 23rd. Hope everybody's having a good morning. Yesterday, in the markets, was a little bit of a wild day. Of course, you had this low volume crap going on again. And then, because we're in ultimate balance, like I said yesterday, um, what happened? As soon as that market broke those lows of 53.23 in the ES, you got a flush off of the FOMC minutes. All right. And then what happened was basically, I'm going to explain something. Once that happens and that doesn't sustain the move, that's called like a liquidation break basically, and it removes sellers from the market. So it strengthens the market because when we closed back up by the most trader price, setting up for NVDA. And when NVIDIA beat, now we went the other way, and now we're gapping up, a large gap up. So a pretty much textbook setup, right? Get rid of those sellers, NVIDIA beats, and now we're higher. So that's what we're looking at this morning. Um, and with that little introduction, without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the market, along with anchor VWAPs, gamma exposure level, supply and demand, and the most traded price of the year, the rolling year, and the rolling month, the rolling week, and the previous day. All that just helps me find structure in the market. We want to be on the side of strength, and we'll look at that today. Okay, so we were in an ultimate balance area, and now we have went down, couldn't go farther down, and went back across that area, and we're gapping up. Okay, so what I do every day at 8 a.m., 8:10 a.m. if you're just joining me, I basically go over the futures watch list to see what's going on there and other watch lists. Look at leaders, laggards, find out why stocks are moving up, down. Go over some news, go over some daily charts. Then at around 8:30, I go over scenarios that I think can play out in the market. All right, that'd be a long scenario or a short scenario, bull or bear, and basically I do it live right from the market profile and buying profile using the levels I have. And that's how I do a game plan. I do it every day, do it live. I don't do it before I come on. I do it right exactly when we start together. Okay? Put a game plan on, and then, you know, we start a day of trading, basically. All right? So, welcome. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe and set an alert. That would be much appreciated. Of course, if you enjoy my content, you can wait till later. But if you can do that, give me a thumbs up or a like. That'd be much appreciated. You could also follow me on X at Gonzo719. All right. All right. So why don't we get right into the futures watch lists? All right, and see what's going on here. It's not going to be a surprise. All right. So what do we have here? Ether, man. That ETF approval is definitely moving Ether. Well, not yet, but the rumor, obviously. The Nasdaq's up 1.11%. Crude hit a bottom. Now probably gonna get bought up here. Up 0.76%, 0.77%. ES up 0.69. Bitcoin's up 0.54. Russell's up 0.45. Dow is up 0.22. 30-year bonds being bought. Okay, being bought, so that should send yields a little lower. That reports at 820. 10-year yield. The dollar is down 0.23. Weaker dollar is good for equities. Okay, gold down 0.97, pulling back a little bit. Silver's down 2%, the volatile metal, and the VIX. Geez, the VIX is down 5.45%, down to 11.62. Boy, these markets, it's just sucking all the volatility out. There's zero fear in this market. Nobody has anything to fear with this momentum going on. All right, so moving on to the Mag 7 Plus. All right, NVIDIA, obviously, up over 1,000 finally. They are up 6.88% after earnings beats. Okay, they're also doing a reverse or a stock split 10 to 1. So right now that would make it like $100 stock. Um, of course, people are probably going to buy that in droves, which probably will make the stock go even higher again. All right, I know they split a couple times already. So Snow also reported they beat. They're up 4.32%. Obviously, in sympathy with NVIDIA, AMD is up to 2.92%. Coinbase up 2.46%. Meta's up 1.14%. Okay, Tesla up 0.82, Microsoft up 0.77, Amazon up 0.74. The list goes on and on. That's about the ones that are really leading. Baba doing some kind of note. So they have been pulling back after having a nice run up. All right, that's what's going on with the Mag 7. Top sector stocks. All right, Qualcomm is a semi, up 1.29%. Not a shocker there. Salesforce, when do they report? They report 529 next week. They're up 0.77. Eli Lilly, Goldman Sachs, I mean, they're not huge leaders. And there's really not a huge laggard either. Procter & Gamble and J&J down 0.2, which is not much. If you go to my swing list here, what's leading the market? Dell. Now, did Dell report? Let's see, Dell 530. No, they did not report. So Dell is getting love, up 5.91. Look at that. Supermicro Computers getting love, up 5.58. SoundHound up 3.94. Vertiv up 3.87. Here's a tip: the usual suspects here. Well, not Hasbro, but Micron, ARM, Taiwan Semiconductor, Marvel. These are all AI semi-related. AI up 2.8. AMAT, Applied Materials, Broadcom. This is all that, right? Then you got Mara, which is obviously Bitcoin related. Western Digital. This is all like the AI related. Hood, right? That's what's leading. Is there laggards today? Ralph Lauren, I believe they reported earnings. Yes, they did. Okay, something they don't like in Ralph Lauren. All right, ANET. Is that Cloudflare? I always get confused with Cloudflare and Arista. Um, I think that's Arista. So down 1.97. AMC down 1%. That's really not much of a laggards here. Okay. And we'll go back here. Let's go to sectors. Semis are up 3.12%. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Up 3.15%. Crazy, right? I always have them on there because that's risk on, right? 1.12 is an XLK. XLK is 29% of the S&P. Okay, that's a weighted. That's how much weight it has in that market. Okay, up 1.12%. Semis are included in XLK. Okay, communications up 0.29. I mean, these are there's. I mean, utilities down 0.0. There's no laggard in this market. Okay, nothing to really be to anything about there. All right. Now I'm just going to see if there's anything else because I had a little bit of a late start this morning. We're going to get into the economic calendar and news in 1 second. We'll look at the juice. We'll look at if there's any upgrades and downgrades today, which there is. Just give me 1 second. All right, let's go over to the economic calendar here. All right, so what do we have today? Thursday, we have jobless claims at 8:30. Chicago Fed, national activity. All right, so today you got to watch out here at 9:45 and 10 a.m. Okay, 9:45 and 10 a.m. You don't want to really be initiating a trade with S&P Global Composite PMI and the manufacturing, the services, and new home sales at 10 a.m. It's really not smart to really initiate some kind of trade unless it's some type of scalp. So I would tend to lean on waiting till like maybe 5 to 10 minutes after. Probably 10's better, so you don't get caught up and get whipped out of a position. So just keep that in mind. That's for today. So we do have some data coming out today. Initial jobless claims we're already bullish. So if these are hot, that's bullish. It just means Fed cuts coming. Okay. Let's look at other news here. Let's see. We already know NVDA stock soared. Let's see anything else. AMD and Broadcom rose over 2%. That's all sympathy. Let's see. Snowflake up 3.9. Data Cloud firm forecast second quarter product revenue above estimates. Taiwan Semiconductor. Obviously, Medtronic rose. Okay. Let's see if the juice has anything. Let's see if they got. We got Fed Bostic at 3 p.m. That's really it there. I'm trying to think. Let's go over to upgrades and downgrades here. All right, let's look at the upgrades. We have, let's see, upgrades. Hasbro. That's why Hasbro is moving. They got an upgrade. Take-Two got an upgrade. Wynn got an upgrade. Wynn Resorts. All right, let's look at downgrades. Best Buy got a downgrade. Under Armour got a downgrade. All right, let's look at raises target here. Let's see here. DuPont, NVIDIA got a bunch of target raises. Look at all those. Wow. That's not shocking though. Pinduoduo got a target raise. Snowflake got a target raise. TJ Maxx got a target raise. Okay. Let's see if anybody's got a lower target here. Foot Locker, Snowflake actually got a target lowered. That's interesting. Target got a target lowered as well from 190 to 180. All right, now see anybody initiating coverage today. Let's see here. Ford initiated at an outperform at a price target of 16. And what else here? Really nothing else to note there. I think that would wrap it up. I mean, we could look at earnings here and what we had happen yesterday. We already talked about these this morning. Ralph Lauren, TD Bank, BJ's, Medtronic all reported after the close today. Really just Ross, Workday, Lionsgate, Deckers, Intuit. That's really what's important. Really, that we're overall major. That's the last one, NVIDIA. All right. Now, we can get right into the daily charts here, which don't tell a lot of the story because of what's happened with NVIDIA, right? Because it's not going to show up there. All right, so let's just look at this crazy market. All right, now this just looks like balance, right? Well, I mean, obviously, we are at 533.83 right now. We're all the way up. It's not even on the chart. 533. It's not even on the chart. So it's out of the chart here. All right, and this was last week's highs. See how last week's highs held until NVIDIA reported. So I said that all week. I said we're gonna wait for NVIDIA, and just you could see it here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, actually, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we just waited basically. Now we got it, and that relative volume this morning is good. So now we're going into a holiday weekend, which the market's closed on Monday. So be interesting, right? So right now we just broke out of this balance, okay? And let's look at futures. And we actually see a live what's happening here. So here we go, right? Here's last week's highs. Futures is up, it's gapping up. Okay, so you're breaking out. You had 3 days, right? And this didn't break yesterday, right? This did not break yesterday. So when you're gapping up over these, and these shorts really didn't get hurt yesterday, you're going to wake up, and if anybody was short still here, they're underwater. So it's kind of important here. It's a gap over a key level. Should get some continuation. So we'll see. Okay, let's look at Qs. Qs, you can see, like I said, they weren't really bouncing. Higher low, higher low, higher low. You couldn't even take out the prior day's lows here. All right. And this market's at 461.11, just off the chart. Let's look at futures. Look at that with NVIDIA. Pushing up to 19,000 all-time high. All right. Just like I said, all-time highs usually don't stay in the overnight real-time trading hours. So big move up. I mean, this is very bullish. You really have no resistance because it's all-time highs. So that's what the market's looking like. It's kind of nuts. So, I mean, look at this. You just had higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low in NASDAQ. NASDAQ was moving up, and the ES, the SPY, was trading sideways until NVIDIA came out. So that's what's going on there. Let's move on to 10-year yield, triple-headed monster. Let's see how the 10-year yield. Now, the 10-year yield was rising. Okay, 10-year yield was rising. So here's your triple-headed monster. Look at this, was rising, now moves sideways, right? You're moving sideways, right? You were rising yesterday until boom, right? So the bond market's kind of relaxing here. Now, jobless claims could move this a little bit depending on how hot or cold that number is. That comes out every Thursday, so that's that. Now, the dollar also looks like it got weakened. Now, that dollar was pushing up like I noted yesterday, but look, that was just taken right back basically today. And we're just holding. Okay. Now, the VIX is just showing there's no fear. There is no fear in this market. We're at an 11.57 VIX. Down here. Look at this. You're in this range. Let's zoom in. You're in this range. Okay. This is still no fear. And look at this. Drop down to 11. There's nothing to fear in this market. Right? I mean, puts are super cheap. So, we're going to move on now. Okay. It's that time. Around 8:30. We're going to get into the game plan. We're going to look at structure. Okay. Go to the tool I love to look at is the market profile, volume profile. Give me 1 second while I pull it up. And we got good volume today finally. So, which is a good thing. Who knows what tomorrow's volume will bring because it's going into a holiday weekend. People might be leaving early. Okay, so we're going to collapse this. Let's move this over here. Let's open this up a little bit. All right, so you can see large gap up. Okay, large gap up. Let's look at our structure together. All right. All right, so we have excess right now. Right now, the market profile finally got out of, like, it's got excess to the top. All right. This level here, the farther you get away from it, the bigger the move's going to be, right? And right now that move is up. I talked about that yesterday, right? Here's that undercut move that happened right here. But guess what? the market couldn't sustain that. Once you did that, sellers were removed. It strengthens the market. You opened here, right? Push down, and then boom. So that's what's going on. And you broke this level in the overnight. That was not broken yesterday. That 53.49 level. Huge resistance. And now you're gapping up above it. Okay. So psychologically, if you were short, you didn't get hurt yesterday, and you wanted to hold on with NVIDIA, well, you're underwater now. So any dip, psychologically, these guys are probably going to be like, let me get out, and this could cause us to go like that. I don't know how far we go, but that's what's going. So what do we have as far as, ultimate balance? Here it is. We're up here. Price is at 53.66. Big gap. Big gaps are hard to trade. All right. So if you got yesterday's highs here, and basically, let's say this 53.49, this area here, is the breakout point. Okay, if it does get down here. Now let's talk about gap rules really quickly. Most bullish is a gap and go. Second most bullish is the failure to fill the gap, and then it goes. See, there's a demand zone before the gap fill. That could definitely happen. Even if you come down and you fill the gap, which should also be the breakout point. That is also could be for people who held on, get out, and then that can fuel the move higher. Okay. Now yesterday I talked about overnight highs are usually never the high. They're usually never the high, right? So even yesterday, was that a good example? Let me see here. No, we didn't take out that overnight high yesterday. But that was not an all-time high. That was. All right, so that's what we're doing right now. Now, let's look at the structure of this move. We got single prints here, right? You got single prints here, and then you got volume building out here. Still thin compared to where we were, right? And we're just keep pushing up. Okay, we'll keep pushing up. I mean, everybody's long from this lows here. All right, a lot of volume here, 53, 54, right there. So really, the market has to defend this area. All right. So let's go into some scenarios here. All right. And let's see. Right. So I'm not going to chase the market if it goes and gaps and goes. It's really not my style. All right. So I need some type of pullback. All right. So from this, everybody's long. Okay. And obviously, with yesterday's highs being right here, also with kind of even with the breakout level, also even with the most traded price of yesterday and the week, this area from about 53.47 to about 53.40, that's your area for the bulls to defend. Okay, that's a gap fill. Like I said, people who kept short, and if we pull back there, will probably get out psychologically. Okay, so if we do one of these and we come through the open, okay, actually let me change the color here because this is a bull scenario. So this is the area the bulls need to defend. Okay, here you got a nice demand zone here, lining up with the most traded price of the overnight. So gap and go, fine. But if you come through the open and you start coming down and this gets defended, okay, in this demand zone, you have the most traded price of the overnight here. A lot of longs there. If they get defended, that could be fuel to go higher. Okay, so that would basically be a failure to fill the gap, holding this demand zone and the most traded price of the overnight, and you're gonna rip. Okay, the next one, even if that does go down, which is fine, you test this area here. Like I said, if it comes down here, you could get, and you just got to be patient and wait to see if it holds and start getting some lower highs. That could also be the fuel. And then those shorts who took that move are going to cover, and you're going to move higher. That's really what I'm looking for. Okay. I obviously see how NVIDIA plays out, see all that as it plays out. There's no supply right now. We're at all-time highs. There's no overhead supply. So you don't have any kind of thing to lean on. Okay. So, of course, longs, if you think about it, when the market closed, okay, people bought that low and we closed here. Okay. If you bought that low and let's say Inspire or something, you can't really do anything. So the overnight came down but didn't take that low out. So everybody's long from here and here. So everybody's long, right? And now we're concentrating up here. Okay, people who are short-term, a little bit traders that got long here, like I said, this could cause a quick down move. So just like this, and you cross through that open and the market starts to get weak, the move is really to here. And like this is just a reverse of the bull situation, right? Because if you're short up here and you take out this demand, you're going to probably see this weak volume here. You're going to take this down right to the gap fill and test this area. Okay. Now, like I said, this area the bulls have to defend. If they can't, and you've happened to rip through these big levels and hold, we are going to revisit the bottom of this balance here, 53.05. You're going to revisit that. Now, you could bounce here, but if it gets very weak, you could really rip down and fill this gap here. Do I think that could happen? I don't know. But you don't want to be long if you rip through this monster balance levels. That is not good. All these longs we're going to have to liquidate. Okay? So, like I said, not the easiest move to short up in here, and like I said, but if we rip through here, woof, you are going to test this. And then it's a matter of if you get further weakness or not. And I mean, the market is frothy, but the momentum is a beast. Okay, so that's really what I'm seeing in the ES. Okay, we can move over to the NASDAQ now and see if the structure is different, which it is, because the ES was in a nice little balance and it broke out. But it broke out now, not in real-time trading hours. Okay, so if we look at the NASDAQ, I'm going to make this a little more easier to see here. Okay, now in the overnight, you do have some type of a little bit of a balance here. You won't see that in the real-time trading hours, but you do. So, you had a little excess. You had this big level. Now, what happened yesterday? Ultimate balance, 187.50. Now is the most traded price of the month and the week. So, ultimate balance is right here. So, what do you think happened when the market went like this and NVIDIA reported? Boom. Big explosion. Right? Ultimate balance. So, price is way up here at 19,000. We looked at it before. Okay. Most traded price of the overnight is 189.48 right here. Market needs to defend that area. Okay. I should have talked about this earlier, but you do have the midpoint 50% retracement of the overnights right here. Okay. So you can see NASDAQ's pushing way higher. Okay. Multiple demand zones being made. Okay, you are far away from a gap fill here. Oof. So it's really a matter of being very patient with these demand zones. Okay, very patient. So here's yesterday's highs. Here's yesterday's lows. Okay, so you can see you got a weak low here with the overnight low and yesterday's lows. That was bought up, right? Got single prints here, single prints here, single prints here, right? That's the emotional buying from NVIDIA earnings. All right, so there's the gap fill. Huge gap. Is not easy to trade. Okay, you got to let some of this froth come off. If it's going to rip, it's going to rip without me. So really, it's all about the gap fill. Can we make it? That's a lot. That's a lot of points to go all the way down to the gap fill. I don't know about that, but anything's possible, right? There's a demand zone right here. So you just got to look for these demand zones, really. It's pretty simple with the NASDAQ. Really, number one is overnight, right? Overnight hands are usually weak. All right, traders that trade overnight, all right, so they obviously are long from that area here. Most trades from the overnight are right here at 189.50. So we're going to get right into scenarios. I've already talked about gap rules earlier. All right, so let's get into scenarios of the NASDAQ. All right, so this is the first defense for the bulls. So what I would like to see is a push up. You come down here, that's the area. Okay, because below that is single prints. However, whenever single prints are defended, that's very bullish. So you could do one of these and lower high, lower high, then you make your move up to whoever knows what price. Okay, and the same plan would go for, now this is the main one I would look to defend. Okay, this one could get clean because it's next to single prints. Okay, this would be the main one. However, if it does happen to test this, obviously it's another point it can go up. However, if I don't trust this one as much, I would still look at it and analyze it. However, this is really the big one because this comes down to yesterday's lows and the gap fill. And like I said, it even could dip down here and get lower high. Then you get a big move up. Okay? So much demand there that, like I said, if you were short here and you let the market close, any pullback, they're going to look to buy. They become buyers, right? So if we go to a short scenario, right? And I would honestly say that this is very a little risky, right? Shorting all-time highs is never like fun. All right, so but what I would say is, all right, expect the gap and go. If you come through that open, what you would do is probably want to take some off here at this demand and at the most traded price of the overnight. Okay. Now, if this market gets all out weak, yeah, if you get past this, there's not much volume stopping you from a gap fill. So if you break this and you tries to attempt to hold, but then boom, it could look something like this. Wham, right to the gap fill. That could be it. Okay. And then you bounce, right? However, if this market starts ripping through yesterday's most traded price and tests this area, yes, you could bounce here, but if you rip, you're going down and you're going to test that weak low. You could break that low. You got single prints here and can bring us all the way back down to here. Now, like I said, I'm not saying this is probable, but if you do threaten this, it will, because all longs will have to cover and liquidate. Okay? So that's the scenarios today. Like I said, large gaps like this are not easy to trade. All right. So I hope everybody has patience today, stays green, and let's see. Let's see. This market keeps pushing higher. I mean, I didn't even see what jobless claims were. It doesn't really matter at this point. So wish everybody luck, and I will see everybody tomorrow morning.